So, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are live. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it, ma'am. So, yeah, so let's just dive into it. So, as a relationship expert, a TV personality, and a best selling author, what do you think that over the period of time, as you move from the 1990s to the 2000s and to the 2010s, as people have more and more options, do you think that people are becoming indecisive and unreliable over the past decades? So, is the world moving to a better good or no?
Okay, very good question. And I would say up until this very point in time, absolutely. We have what is referred to as the paradox of choice. That means when you have so many options, it is almost impossible to make one selection. I have the same feeling when I go to a department store and there is a football field worth of blouses and trousers. I can't find anything. So what happens in online dating and dating is that so many people are available that we become desensitized. And especially with the swiping technology for online apps, it's just more, and you choose one, and then the human mind thinks, well, but maybe there's somebody better. And so there's always an endless supply of people. So when the supply seems endless and they all seem interesting, it's very hard to make a selection. However, there is a recent clarification. You are indeed correct. Now, because of COVID and the pandemic, we are seeing for the first time in modern dating history, instead of from the 2000s onward with millennial hookups and casual sex and friends with benefits and all this nonsense, we are seeing more of a willingness to be intentional in dating. Because COVID and the worldwide pandemic has made us go into ourselves, reassess what's important. Many people are no longer, well, we couldn't meet in person, but people are looking to create rich, dynamic relationships of meaning. And we are finding to this very trend that you so accurately acknowledged of no choice and confusion, we are now finding a turn, a very hard and definitive turn toward clarity and intentional dating for the purpose of a relationship that is rewarding.
In Middle Eastern countries and Asian countries, the game of a person is a widely misunderstood concept. So, what does it mean when one refers to his or her game?
Fortunate in that you live in a traditional culture where the dating rules are kind of minimal and mostly your parents decide who you're going to be with. So love marriages are, they exist, but dating is much more formalized. You don't have the hookup culture like you do here in the Wild West and in our country. So you have courtship and manners. In the US, we had, as of the early 2000s, maybe 2004, 2005, there were some fellows who, on the West Coast in LA, developed a system called The Game. And Neil Strauss, the New York Times writer, also wrote a book called The Game. And they were pickup artists. And these fellows developed techniques and technology for psychologically attracting and actually controlling their partner. And so game and the tactics that they used of hot and cold, negs where you kind of compliment but you don't, you offend and compliment at the same time, all the manipulation, psychological and emotional games they used. And I knew one of the founding members. To be honest, it was the best date I ever thought I had. It was a 4-hour dinner date where I talked to him all about girls. If you only knew this, all you have to do is say this and you can get us back. You can be as bad as you want. And don't you know, he went and used that and I didn't know what he was using it for. But game is the opposite of real, but game, just as in con artists, it works because there is an element of truth. It reflects truth. So in game, one would posture that they like you, to engage you. You
Yes.
fall for them, and then they discard you
Yes.
for an ego boost. It's very sick. Or there's ghosting, or haunting, or breadcrumbing, or 1,000 terms that they have for doing anything other than honestly saying, I like you, I don't like you.
Yes.
That's it.
It's not just that in India these things are not there. These things are there, but they are not there as deep in the Western countries.
It's crazy, you know, I've had a live show on YouTube, and every week for about 20 weeks, I've been going over a different bad behavior term that have all been developed. I mean, whether you're benching or catfishing, and most of it's coming out of the online community, because dating online on an app, unlike knowing somebody in your community, somebody at work, somebody in your neighborhood, there is no point of reference. They can show up and pretend to be anyone they want. You don't know who they are. You don't know their family.
Yes.
So this is where people get into a lot of error. And the funny thing is that when you boil it all down, all human beings want to love and be loved. So it is pretty crazy that they take all these steps to do just the opposite, to get the feeling of being loved, yet avoid any potential pain. It just doesn't make sense to me, but that's the way it is.
So, as we move deep into this topic, have dating games like hot and cold, push and pull away become the social norms for building relationships? And do you think that these things, as we discussed earlier, that these things are taking the essence out of relationships? And how is it, means how can a person be honest and genuine about one's feelings in this time, right now?
It takes courage, to be honest. You cannot have a relationship that involves push and pull and hot and cold. Games do not equate to anything other than game. So I have a saying, okay, games get games, real gets real. It just, you can't put bait on the end of a hook and expect to catch a certain fish if it's the wrong bait. So anybody who's willing to go along with a game either is unconscious or doesn't know what's going on. Most people who fall for games are incapable of being in a committed relationship because they lack the fortitude and the honesty and the courage to speak their truth. Maybe they don't know what they want. Maybe they're just dating for fun. But whatever it is, they're not being clear and they're not being honest, and they're certainly not being intentional. But hot and cold, all these games don't function as a foundation for a real relationship.
Okay.
They are the outcome of people who don't know what to do and want to protect their ego. That's all they are.
So, how can one differentiate between a person who is genuinely interested in someone or just someone who is being kind of desperate and needy?
It's hard to tell. You have to play these things out. You know, if a person truly likes you, they may be a little giddy, or they may even be pulling back, and you can't tell. You think, gee, I don't think they like me, because a lot of us get very shy when we are in front of somebody we truly like. We kind of clam up. But normally you can feel the interest. There's a little bit of chemistry going on in the air. And the only way you could tell that somebody's desperate and needy is if they start to become incredibly reactive. If you have another appointment, I'm going to see my parents, I'm sorry, I'm seeing my friends, and they get bent out of shape or they take it personally, you should, as an individual, be able to have your own life and have a relationship. So there's a distinction between somebody who wants you and somebody who just wants someone.
Okay.
And that's something we have to fix. When you talk about needing, there are people who just need somebody. They don't care who it is. I just want somebody. I don't want to be alone. I have a fear of being alone. So I need to be in a relationship. And the desperate moves they make are pretty obvious. They want to immediately get you off the site, close you down. They want to immediately get into a relationship with you. They want to immediately close the door to you seeing anybody else. They want confirmation immediately. I had a guy that was dating a client of mine, and she was very new to dating.
Okay.
So she didn't know how dating went. And within 2 weeks of meeting her, he demanded that she get off the dating app and be exclusive. She had never even really dated. She said, I'm finishing my PhD. I've never had a chance to date. I would like to go out with a couple people before I get into a relationship just to see what's out there, just so I know what I want. He just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. He finally was like, it's now, it's been 3 weeks, that's it, I won't have it again. He was very controlling. She had to break up with him. He was a mess. And so anybody that is that controlling and that demanding from the very beginning, I'm convinced he didn't love her. I am convinced he loved the idea of having someone love him, and it's very different.
Exactly.
So we will find that desperate needy people are not thinking about what's good for you. They're thinking about what's good for them exclusively.
Why do people undervalue you if you give too much of yourself from the beginning?
It depends on who those people are, and I have very clear opinions about this. If you are dating somebody who knows what they want, and they are locked and loaded and ready to be in a relationship, and you meet them and you are locked and loaded and ready to be in a relationship, and you know what you want, and the two of you click, it can start right off the bat and be good forever. So it is people that don't know what they want will start to avoid you. So when people are dating and they're not serious about you or not serious about what they want, they will be less clear on their commitments. And any kind of person who is intentional about getting to know them, if they don't know where they stand on relationships in general or relationships with you, they will be vague and avoid you, and they will think that there's something wrong with you, that you're coming on too strong.
Okay.
So it's sometimes it's a little hard. You have to play it out a little bit to see what's going on, you know, give it a little bit of time until you know. And it's too bad that people confuse being direct. See, I believe, I don't like the word vulnerable. I know people have made entire careers on it. I like the word direct.
Okay.
I like to be clear and honest about my intentions. I don't want to play games. I don't want to be mysterious. There's enough mystery in love as it is. There's enough to work through. The last thing you have to figure out is, does she like me or not? So I try to be very clear with the fact that I like you, especially with men. You have to give a green light. Men are scared. Women don't realize that. Men risk a lot when they have to walk across a room to say hi to you. They're afraid they're going to be shut down. Men are very romantic. Men are very sensitive. And when men love, they love completely. And I don't think women know this. So what happens is I have to always give a green light, an affirmation, and some kind of reassurance. Because if you are powerful, if you are interesting, if you are in the limelight, if you're a celebrity, if you're rich, if you're beautiful, men can be, they can feel like, what would she want with me? So you have to be very clear as a woman that I like you. And that's not making me weak. That's not making me needy. It's a very powerful, I like you. It doesn't take anything to say that. I don't look like less. So I'd like to see people be more honest and more direct. And the people I work with that do that are very happy at the results.
I agree with you on this. Then how can one maintain constant love and interest in a relationship over long periods of time? And like, what are the things that a couple should do to maintain a healthy and happy relationship?
The thing that destroys a relationship is a lack of appreciation and the buildup of resentments. So the number one thing you need to work on with your partner is when the two of you have an issue, that you can talk about it without accusing each other. If you have to go to couples counseling and learn a formula for communication, it's very important. If you or your partner sees that an issue comes up and it's not addressed, it's like baggage that builds up. And then there's resentment. And when there's resentment, there can be no love. So you have to, one, get through to conflict resolution. You at least have to have a partner who will brainstorm with you. I have a system I call putting it on the table. And I tell my couples clients that you work like a team, as though you're both in the same team at work. And you're like, okay, we have this problem. And so if you do this and you do that, and I need you to do that, they're never going to listen to you. They're going to shut down. So you take the problem like, okay, I need us to separate. We both have to chip in for the chores around the house. We both work, we're exhausted. I'll do the dishes, can you do the laundry? I hate laundry. Okay, then can you do the garage and the garbage, and can you pick up after, can you get the kids after school? Yes, I can do that. Fantastic. So we've sorted it out. That's conflict resolution. So also another thing that kills love over time is a lack of appreciation. We need to keep letting our partner know that they're winning with us. We need our partner to know, you make me happy. With men, you need to let them know you're doing a great job. I really appreciated you doing that. Thank you so much for getting the car fixed. Thank you so much for taking that call. I didn't want to call that person. You know, we have to thank our mate. If your wife has cooked for you, you say, don't just expect, because she's a woman, she's going to do it. She's busy too. And say, you know what? I really appreciate what you bring to this family. A few kind words of acknowledgement and thanks can keep somebody doing it. And it just adds so much love and warmth to the relationship. So I'm huge on appreciation and gratitude. That keeps the love alive.
So yeah, that's it. I mean, that concludes our session with you. If you are interested, you can visit her YouTube channel. It is in the description box down below. Then you can also read her ebooks from Amazon, and it's free on the Kindle Unlimited version, and or you can also buy it. Then you can visit her and listen to her podcast. It's on iTunes, Spotify. It's the Susan Winter Show. If you want, you can book a one-on-one consultation with her. The links will be in the description box down below. Trust me guys, her channel is one of the best channels where you can understand relationship dynamics and male and female psychology. Thank you. Have a nice day.